height of his power, Pablo Escobar controlled 80% of the cocaine trade to the United States, earning him the title, the King of Cocaine. At an estimated net worth of $30 billion, Escobar landed on Forbes' list of the richest people alive. Known for his paradoxical persona, he funded soccer clubs and built homes for the poor, while orchestrating violent campaigns that claimed thousands of lives. From his lavish zoo filled with exotic animals to his daring escape from prison, Escobar's story is one of unmatched power, terror, and intrigue. This video unravels his rise, reign, and fall. It explores how he became the most notorious criminal of all time, and why his legacy still captivates the world. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Antioquia, Colombia, before his family relocated to the modest suburb of Envigado. He was the third of 7 children in a family struggling with poverty, raised by a schoolteacher mother and a peasant farmer father. Despite these humble beginnings, Escobar harbored grand ambitions from an early age, even aspiring to one day become the president of Colombia. His journey into crime began early, reportedly selling stolen tombstones and counterfeit diplomas. Escobar's criminal activities escalated over time, progressing to car theft and eventually smuggling operations. His first significant role in the criminal underworld came during the Marlboro Wars, where he gained prominence by controlling the illicit cigarette trade in Colombia. This phase would serve as a critical stepping stone, honing his skills for his future dominance in the cocaine trade. Colombia's dominance in the cocaine trade was no accident. In the 1970s, the country's marijuana smuggling routes laid the groundwork for the burgeoning cocaine market. With its strategic location at the northern tip of South America, close to coca-growing regions like Peru and Bolivia, Colombia became the hub of the global cocaine trade, particularly supplying the United States, its largest consumer. Escobar, already entrenched in organized crime, capitalized on this opportunity. In 1975, Medellin drug trafficker Fabio Restrepo was murdered, allegedly on Escobar's orders. Following Restrepo's death, Escobar swiftly took over his operations and transformed them into an unprecedented empire. Partnering with a close-knit group of associates, Escobar purchased coca paste from Bolivia and Peru, processed it, and smuggled massive quantities into the United States. This marked the birth of the Medellin Cartel, an organization that would soon monopolize the cocaine trade on a global scale. During this period, Escobar also started his own family. In 1976, he married Maria Victoria Henao, who was 11 years younger and still a teenager at the time. Together they had 2 children, creating a personal life that starkly contrasted with his violent and illicit empire. Pablo Escobar's meteoric ascent caught the attention of the Departamento Administrativo de Seguridad, or DAS, in May of 1976, when he was arrested after a drug trafficking trip to Ecuador. Authorities discovered 39 kilograms of cocaine concealed in the spare tire of his vehicle. However, Escobar evaded conviction by bribing a judge, and the 2 DAS agents involved in his arrest were killed the following year, as detailed in Mark Bowden's Killing Pablo. Around this time, Escobar perfected his infamous strategy known as plata o plomo, silver or lead, offering officials the stark choice between accepting bribes or facing death. In 1978, Escobar acquired 20 square kilometers of land in Antioquia, Colombia, to construct Hacienda Nápoles. a sprawling estate complete with a private bull ring, a sculpture garden, a lake, and a collection of exotic animals including hippos, giraffes, and elephants. The estate also housed luxury cars and motorcycles. After his death, the estate was repurposed as a theme park, though the descendants of his imported hippos continued to disrupt Colombia's ecosystem, creating a peculiar blend of environmental issues and tourism opportunities. As cocaine demand surged in the United States, Escobar expanded his smuggling routes and distribution networks. He even established a strategic base on a private Bahamian island, with the assistance of Cartel co-founder Carlos Leder. By the mid-1980s, Escobar's wealth skyrocketed, reaching an estimated $30 billion. Forbes recognized him as one of the world's richest individuals. To manage his excessive cash flow, Escobar reportedly purchased a Learjet solely for transporting money. At his peak, Escobar controlled over 80% of the cocaine entering the United States, smuggling up to 15 tons daily and generating about $420 million a week for the Medellin cartel. As his wealth and influence grew, Escobar sought public approval by cultivating a Robin Hood-like image. He poured millions into Medellin's impoverished communities, funding infrastructure projects, soccer fields, and recreational spaces. He even paid his cocaine lab workers salaries high enough for them to afford homes and vehicles, earning him the gratitude of many locals who viewed him as more supportive than the government. Still aspiring to national leadership, Escobar ventured into politics by aligning with Colombia's Liberal Party. In 1982, he secured a seat as an alternate member of Congress. However, Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla publicly exposed Escobar's criminal empire, forcing his resignation just 2 years later. Shortly after, Lara Bonilla was assassinated, a murder detailed in Kings of Cocaine by Guy Gugliotta and Jeff Lean. Escobar orchestrated the deaths of thousands, targeting politicians, judges, journalists, and ordinary citizens. When his political ambitions collapsed and U.S. pressure for his extradition mounted, Escobar launched a brutal campaign to sway Colombian politics. His demands included amnesty and a no-extradition agreement for drug lords willing to retire from the trade. The carnage included the assassinations of 3 presidential candidates, an attorney general, and over 1,000 police officers. Escobar was also implicated in the 1989 bombing of Avianca Flight 203, intended to kill presidential candidate Cesar Gaviria Trujillo. The explosion claimed 107 lives, though Gaviria avoided the flight. Days later, a truck bomb detonated outside a DAS building in Bogota, killing more than 50 people and injuring over 2,200. Escobar's terror tactics ultimately alienated much of the public, diminishing his support. By the early 1990s, pressure from President Cesar Gaviria's administration intensified after Escobar allegedly ordered the assassination of presidential candidate Luis Carlos Galán. In 1991, Escobar negotiated his surrender in exchange for lenient sentencing and immunity from extradition to the U.S. He was confined in a self-designed prison, La Catedral, which resembled a luxury resort more than a penitentiary. The facility boasted amenities like a casino, nightclub, spa, football field, and even a waterfall. In June of 1992, fearing a transfer to a conventional prison, Escobar escaped La Catedral, triggering a massive manhunt aided by the U.S. DEA. Over the next 16 months, the Medellin cartel's dominance unraveled as police dismantled its operations and killed its key leaders. Escobar's family fled to Bogota, unsuccessfully seeking asylum abroad, while Escobar himself remained on the run. On December 2, 1993, Colombian authorities tracked him to a neighborhood in Medellin. In a dramatic rooftop shootout, Escobar and his bodyguard were killed. Escobar had turned 44 just a day earlier. His death marked the rapid decline of the Medellin cartel and reduced Colombia's prominence in the cocaine trade. While many Colombians celebrated his demise, thousands mourned him, and over 25,000 attended his funeral. To this day, Escobar's legacy is a blend of infamy and paradox, with some continuing to regard him as a benefactor despite his reign of terror.